Ladies and gentlemen, we are now ready to present the various degrees to all candidates. The audience is requested to remain in their seats until the conclusion of today's ceremony. This morning's ceremony honors graduates from the College of Arts and Sciences. Candidates for doctor's degrees will be presented by Acting Dean Dale Johnson of the Graduate School.
Mr. President, here with us today are candidates who have completed all requirements for the degrees of Doctor of Philosophy and Doctor of Musical Arts. I request them to rise. Mr. President, on behalf of Dean Simpson of the College of Arts and Sciences and the graduate faculty, I am pleased and honored to present the candidates for the highest degrees awarded by the university. The names of those awarded doctoral degrees this year are listed in the commencement program, along with the titles of their dissertations and names of their faculty supervisors. I recommend that these candidates be awarded their respective doctoral degrees.
On behalf of the Regents and the graduate faculty, I am pleased to confer upon you your respective doctoral degrees. Congratulations. You have achieved high academic distinction, and our university salutes you. You will be presented today with a memento of this graduation exercise. Please come forward.
Julie Dole Allen, Doctor of Philosophy, Germanics.
Mary Aileen Abrams, Doctor of Philosophy, Anthropology.
Mayumi Adachi, Doctor of Philosophy, Music.
Mikhail Anatolevich Alexeyev, Doctor of Philosophy, Political Science.
Lisa Ann Frumps, Doctor of Philosophy, Slavic Language and Literature.
Gloria Tomko Beckley, Doctor of Philosophy, Sociology.
Kathleen A. Brown, Doctor of Philosophy, History.
Jean Colburn Breinig, Doctor of Philosophy, English.
Margaret Ann Peyton Walsh, Doctor of Philosophy, History.
Melissa J. Brown, Doctor of Philosophy, Anthropology.
Terry Elizabeth Thomas, Doctor of Philosophy, Romance Languages and Literature.
Myrna Jean Kapp, Doctor of Musical Arts, Music.
Lynn P. Donnock, Doctor of Philosophy, Clinical Psychology.
Stephanie G. Chastain, Doctor of Philosophy, Comparative Literature.
Candace Chu, Doctor of Philosophy, English.
James Darrell Klaus, Doctor of Philosophy, History.
Rodney L. Engen, Doctor of Philosophy, Sociology.
James V. Cordova, Doctor of Philosophy, Psychology.
Elizabeth Therese Cook, Doctor of Philosophy, Psychology.
Brad Lindsay Cook, Doctor of Philosophy, Classics.
Maria Curie Endriga, Doctor of Philosophy, Psychology.
Julia N. Eulenberg, Doctor of Philosophy, History.
Christopher John Colby, Doctor of Philosophy, Economics.
Sue Woo Chung, Doctor of Philosophy, Anthropology.
Karen Marie Travis, Doctor of Philosophy, Economics.
Lawrence Spencer Robinson, Doctor of Philosophy, History.
Alan Stephen Bellis, Doctor of Philosophy, Economics.
James A. Dunn, Doctor of Philosophy, English.
Valerie Serra, Doctor of Philosophy, Economics.
David Scott Graber, Doctor of Philosophy, Slavic Languages and Literature.
Gary Roscoe Henry, Doctor of Philosophy, English.
Susan Lynn Jocelyn, Doctor of Philosophy, Psychology.
David Thomas Francis, Doctor of Philosophy, English.
Laura McGee Jackson, Doctor of Philosophy, Germanics.
Rita Klinger, Doctor of Philosophy, Music.
Kenneth Mark Leek, Doctor of Philosophy, Political Science.
June Johnson Bube, Doctor of Philosophy, English.
Mark Christopher Long, Doctor of Philosophy, English.
Barbara Jane McGuire, Doctor of Philosophy, English.
Mary Kelly Persine, Doctor of Philosophy, English.
Christy Lee Kimpo, Doctor of Philosophy, Psychology.
Delia C. Rosenblatt, Doctor of Philosophy, Geography.
Jana Moore Lone, Doctor of Philosophy, Philosophy.
Julian Miles Summers, Doctor of Philosophy, Psychology.
Patricia J. Smith, Doctor of Philosophy, Political Science.
Andrea Tersigni, Doctor of Philosophy, Music.
Tina Red, Doctor of Philosophy, Drama.
Charles David Traynor, Doctor of Philosophy, Psychology.
David Victor Schultz, Doctor of Philosophy, Drama.
Steph Albert Boltma, Doctor of Musical Arts, Music.
Jeffrey Stewart Philpott, Doctor of Philosophy, Speech Communication.
Janet Whiting Levy, Doctor of Philosophy, Anthropology.
Jeffrey Francis Bullock, Doctor of Philosophy, Speech Communication.
Anne Alexandra Apostolides Mini, Doctor of Philosophy, Political Science.
Karen Elaine Zedeker, Doctor of Philosophy, Speech Communication.
Lori Anna Duthie Quigley, Doctor of Philosophy, Psychology.
Sandra L. Hunt, Doctor of Philosophy, Speech Communication.
Bethany Reed, Doctor of Philosophy, English.
Marcia Mary Taylor, Doctor of Philosophy, English.
Wendy Swite, Doctor of Philosophy, English.
Margaret Mary Hostetler, Doctor of Philosophy, English.
Frederick William Banks V, Doctor of Musical Arts, Music.
Erin Heirang Chung, Doctor of Musical Arts, Music.
Ed Pius, Doctor of Musical Arts, Music.
Yuka Sasaki, Doctor of Musical Arts, Music.
Susan Kyoko Tomita, Doctor of Philosophy, Sociology.
Young Ron Oh, Doctor of Musical Arts, Music. Jason Andre Cromwell, Doctor of Philosophy, Anthropology. Hung Min Seo, Doctor of Philosophy, Comparative Literature.
Candidates for master's degrees will be presented by Dean Johnson of the Graduate School.
Candidates for the various master's degrees will please rise as their degrees are named and then remain standing. The Master of Arts, the Master of Arts in International Studies, Master of Arts for Teachers, Master of Fine Arts, and the Master of Music. Mr. President, on behalf of Dean Simpson of the College of Arts and Sciences and the graduate faculty, I am honored to present these candidates to receive their respective master's degrees.
On behalf of the Regents and the graduate faculty, I am pleased to confer upon you your master's degree. Congratulations. Your university is very proud of you. You will be presented today with a memento of this graduation exercise. Please come forward.
You're watching Commencement 1996 from the University of Washington. These ceremonies are underway at Heck Edmondson Pavilion. You have one of the best seats in the house for this coverage. We have multiple cameras positioned around the pavilion with what we trust are interesting views of the entire proceedings. Our telecast is presented as a public service by the University of Washington, and you are welcome to tape any part or all of this program. It is June 8th, 1996, the 121st commencement.
The master's degrees are now filing up to the stage to receive their diplomas. And here's a breakdown on the degrees that are being granted today to the class of 1996. As we said earlier, the Seattle campus is graduating almost 900 today, and about 70% of those degrees being conferred are bachelor's. An additional 21% are master's degrees, and the remaining 9% are Doctor of Philosophy, Arts, Musical Arts, and Education, and professional degrees in the areas of medicine, law, dental surgery, and pharmacy.
And Pam, I don't know if I heard it exactly right, but I know we meant to say it was 9,000 graduating from the Seattle campus. And a sign of changing times that the president alluded to earlier. About 54% of the bachelor's and 50% of the master's degrees were earned by women. 50% of the new lawyers are women, as are 37% of the new physicians.
For bachelor's degrees in the various departments and schools in the College of Arts and Sciences will now be presented to you. The candidates who have been accepted by the faculty of the university for their respective degrees are listed in the commencement program. Candidates for the several bachelor's degrees in the schools and departments of the College of Arts and Sciences will be presented to you, Mr. President, by Dean Simpson.
Candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Fine Arts, Bachelor of Music, and Bachelor of Science will please rise. Mr. President, I have the honor to present these candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Fine Arts, Bachelor of Music, and Bachelor of Science, and recommend that all who have fulfilled the requirements of the College of Arts and Sciences be conferred their bachelor's degrees. The listing of the degree recipients with college honors and with distinction may be found at the beginning of the listing of degrees awarded for each quarter as listed in the commencement program.
Many of the candidates here today have completed degree programs in summer, autumn, or winter quarters. These candidates, whom we are very glad to have with us, have already received appropriate diplomas. Candidates completing their academic programs this spring will receive their diplomas later this summer. A special memento of this graduation exercise will be presented to all candidates in attendance today. Following President McCormick's citation awarding the various bachelor's degrees, all candidates will be seated immediately, and under direction of the faculty marshals will await their turn to come forward one row at a time.
On behalf of the regents and the faculty, I am pleased to confer upon each of you your respective bachelor's degree. Congratulations. Your university is very proud of you. May I now ask you to be seated and await your turn to come forward.
Well, the baccalaureate candidates are now filing up to the podium to receive their degrees, and congratulations. This part of our program should take about 30 to 35 minutes.
Let's take a moment here to talk about our new president, Richard McCormick, whom you've seen a lot on this telecast so far. He became the University of Washington's 28th president last September. He follows in the very impressive footsteps of William Gerberding, who led the UW through its previous 16 years of growth and accomplishments, and who is now the longest-serving president in the history of the university.
Dr. McCormick comes to us from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, a very fine university where he wore many hats indeed, beginning in 1992. He served the president as both provost and vice chancellor for academic affairs. In 1993, he assumed the office and duties of executive vice chancellor. At UNC Chapel Hill, his responsibilities included oversight of academic support services, and he also assisted the chancellor in the leadership of the university's faculty, students, and staff.
President McCormick received his Bachelor of Arts degree from Amherst College and a PhD in history from Yale. He began his academic career in the history department at Rutgers University in New Jersey. His work as an administrator started there when he was appointed the acting dean of the Faculty of Arts and Sciences in 1989, a post that he formally held until leaving for UNC Chapel Hill some 3 years later.
Well, he is the author of 3 books on American political history and is married to Suzanne Lebsack, a noted scholar, author in her own right, and they have 2 children, Elizabeth and Michael. So this will be the first commencement for Dr. McCormick as a university president. And we were fortunate to have had an opportunity to chat with him last week, and we'd like to play that interview for you right now.
President McCormick, in another week, you'll be leading your first commencement as president of the University of Washington. Can you tell us some of your thoughts about this tradition, and in particular, what does it signify for you?
Well, commencement, first of all, is the day when we celebrate our students' academic achievements. These are the young men and women who have completed their work for their degrees at the University of Washington, and they're here to receive their diplomas in the presence of their family and their friends, and we're celebrating what they've accomplished. That's, first of all, what commencement is. It's also a day once a year when the university reminds itself and all of its members what its values are and what it stands for. Really who it is. This is the University of Washington. We have long and distinguished academic traditions. They're symbolized by the gowns and hoods that our faculty members wear. They're symbolized by the names of the degrees that our students will be receiving in the company of their parents. So it's a day when we say, nice going, to a particular group of students, and it's a day when we remind ourselves and our larger community of what we stand for as a university.
Now, you came to the University of Washington with some particular impressions. In fact, I believe it was a year ago now, you had an interview with the Daily, the campus newspaper, and you said that you were well aware before you came here of the distinguished reputation of the University of Washington, particularly in research, and that the university is a mainstay of the region and the state and, of course, the city. Now that you've been here almost a year, has this place met with your expectations?
Well, you know what? If it's even possible, it's a better university than I imagined it was, and that's saying a lot because I knew it was very, very good. I've gone out across the university campus and met with students and faculty and staff in their departments, in their labs, in their offices, listened to them, hear them talk about their programs, listen to them share with me the excitement they feel about the learning and the research they're doing. And there's some wonderful, wonderful stuff going on out there. Others outside the university community have confirmed that. For example, last fall, the National Research Council released its rankings of graduate programs all across the country. And when you rank graduate programs, you're really ranking the excellence of the university as a whole, because it's the same faculty that teaches the undergraduates as well as the graduate students. They found that 11 of our programs were in the top 10 nationally in their disciplines, and that about 25 more were in the top 20 nationally in those disciplines. That's an astonishingly great record of academic performance, and only a handful of public universities can say as much.
Now, you have traveled extensively throughout the state in the 9 months that you've been here. What are you hearing about higher education in general and the University of Washington in particular, and how are these comments shaping your actions and your decisions?
There's a tremendous amount of support for higher education in the state of Washington, and a lot of pride in the University of Washington in particular. Most parents and most boys and girls expect there will be access to higher education. Although there are large numbers of students heading for our classrooms, fact is, the people of Washington expect that we will meet those expectations because they think that higher education is important for the opportunities that their children will have for the rest of their lives. I'm hearing that the university is expected to respond to those needs, but there are also high expectations for our being accountable for the resources we already have. I get asked good and smart questions about the quality of our undergraduate programs, about the commitment of our faculty to teaching, about how well we're using the resources that we already have. And I'm determined that as we respond to the challenge of providing access for the next generation of students, we're also fully accountable for the excellence of our programs.
Now, with regard to undergraduate education, the University of Washington has a reputation as one of the top research institutions in the country. What are the attractions for an undergraduate student of attending a research university like this?
Well, they're very, very great. It's a fact that a very large number of the best young men and women in the state of Washington still want to come to this university. This is their institution of choice. So as a consequence, we get a very, very excellent student body. It's a kind of student body that is, in fact, very well positioned, very well equipped to learn from a research-oriented faculty. After all, the men and women on our faculty, each of them knows far more than is in any textbook because they are themselves contributing to the discovery of new knowledge. They're able to do a great deal more than simply communicate the material. They can also communicate the excitement of discovery and the joy of learning something that no one has known before, and an understanding of where knowledge comes from and how it's applied in the real world. That's the thrill of learning from a research faculty. Our faculty are able to communicate that way to our students, and fortunately, as I said before, we have a student body that is ready and able and excited about learning from that kind of a research faculty.
And the UW is a very big place. It embraces a large and very diverse population of students, at the same time accommodating a variety of learning styles. But the environment can also be a bit intimidating, and I would suspect that's particularly true for the first-year student. What does the university do to personalize this experience for students?
Well, you know, that's true. It is a big university community. There are 34,000 students and another 15,000 or so faculty and staff. The university is vastly bigger, for example, than the high schools attended by any of our students. It's bigger than the hometowns of many of them. And so we recognize that especially for a first-year student coming onto the campus, we have to take some steps to assist them in feeling at home. We have, for example, freshman interest groups. These are small groups of freshmen who are taking essentially the same courses, or at least taking 2 or 3 courses in common. So they begin with similar interests and similar courses. We bring them together on a regular basis to share their experiences, including their academic experiences, but also their personal experiences. And it's a way in which they can become a part of a small community, even as they're joining a gigantic university community. We also increasingly are finding that many of our senior faculty are willing to teach freshman seminars. These are courses that meet once a week. They do not carry course credit for the faculty. The faculty are doing this because they love students and love teaching. The enrollments are very small, and they're on specialized topics of considerable interest to students, and on topics, of course, on which the faculty involved are experts. It's another way in which we try to bring freshmen into the university community, large as it is, in a more personal way.
Let's talk about the future a little bit, and it's a future that you're obviously going to be leading us into. Demographers tell us that in the year 2010, and we've been reading these statistics a lot lately, there will be 84,000 more 17 to 22-year-olds in the state than there were just in 1990. But we also know that the state of Washington ranks substantially below the average in graduating students at all degree levels. With what seem to be continuing resource constraints on the horizon, how will you even start to prepare the University of Washington to educate what seems to be a lot more students in the future, at the same time continuing to maintain the academic excellence for which we are known?
Well, it's a huge pair of challenges. More students and our determination to maintain excellence even as we educate those additional students. One excellent starting point is the fact that, as I mentioned earlier, most citizens of the state of Washington expect that higher education opportunities will continue to be available for their children and their nieces and nephews and their children's children. So we start with a high level of support for higher education and the expectation that spaces in the classroom will be there. So I have a confidence that those in authority in our state government will find a way to fulfill that expectation. And certainly we at the University of Washington are ready to be willing partners in that effort. For example, we have two excellent new campuses, one at Bothell and one at Tacoma. They're right now pretty small, 600 or 700 students each, but they're going to grow significantly in the decade ahead, and they will in fact absorb a fair number of the University of Washington's share of the new generation of students. At the same time, I think we can do more right here in Seattle. Our facilities are underutilized during the summer, and we can continue the growth of our evening division programs. Right now, there are 18 different degrees that we offer in the evening. There's no reason why it couldn't be 28 10 years from now. I don't think that the University of Washington Seattle can grow significantly in its traditional fall, winter, and spring daytime enrollment, maybe by a couple of thousand. But if you add together Bothell and Tacoma, summer in Seattle, evenings in Seattle, a little bit of daytime growth in Seattle, and you think as well about the opportunities presented by new technology and by distance learning, I feel sure that the University of Washington, in partnership with the people of the state, will find ways to provide the next generation of students with opportunity and access to higher education.
One last question. Can we assume that you're enjoying yourself?
I'm enjoying myself tremendously as commencement approaches, and we have a chance to be with members of the university community celebrating an academic year, celebrating the achievements of a particular group of students with their families, with their parents. I'm thrilled by the university and still deeply honored to have the privilege of providing it with leadership.
President McCormick, thank you for taking time out of what we know is your very hectic schedule. Best of luck in your first commencement and in the future.
Thank you very much.
That was an interview we held with Dr. McCormick recently, and Jack, it's obvious that this president faces many challenges as he begins his tenure here at the University of Washington. But he's also genuinely excited about what he has to work with here and the task before him of taking this institution into the next century. Well, you're looking at President McCormick right now as he continues to hand out the baccalaureate degrees. We talked earlier about the significance of the hood colors, and the one that you see worn by the president is from Yale University, where, as we said, he received his PhD in history. And you may also notice the medallion that he is wearing, known as the President's Seal Medallion. Its history dates back to 1958, when Dr. Charles Odegaard was inaugurated as the UW's 24th president. Since that time, the Seal Medallion has been presented to every new incoming president.
And both the medallion and its chain are plated in 10-karat gold, weighing in at nearly 5 ounces. On one side is imprinted the university motto, the university seal, and a facsimile of the original university building's 4 columns. The medallion's other side features the words, Seal of the President of the University.
We'd like to remind you, this is UWTV Cable Channel 27. We hope you're enjoying this presentation of Commencement 1996, and right now I'm pleased to welcome to our little corner of the world Dr. Lewis Fox, Associate Vice Provost for Undergraduate Education. Lewis, thank you for taking the time to join us today. And how many university commencements have you been to?
Well, Pam, this is my 14th commencement.
14 commencements. Okay. What else do you do with your life?
Well, in fact, that's not including my own commencements.
Okay. Because I was going to say, besides your own. Oh, my goodness.
Right. My mother, when asked about what I would be when I finished my education, once said about 40. Actually, she was quoting the noted scholar, Professor Groucho Marx.
That's great. Okay.
You know, Pam, as we look out over the 1996 sizable graduating class, it makes me think of the tremendous impact the university has on the state of Washington and the Pacific Northwest. Of the nearly 9,000 graduates who receive degrees from the UW each year, The majority stay right here in the Evergreen State to live and work. At present, about 120,000 UW graduates reside in Washington, and clearly they are using their educations to contribute to the advancement of the Washington State community.
Well, I'm sure they are. And let's mention something here about the value of that education. Data provided by the U.S. Census Bureau show that people holding BA degrees can anticipate earning as much as 70% more in their lifetimes than those with just a high school diploma. For PhDs, that figure jumps to 150%, and for professional degrees, it's well over 200%.
You know, add to that the national reputation of the UW. Ever since 1974, for example, the UW has been the #1 public university in the nation receiving federal funds for research and training. And we've ranked second in the nation behind only Johns Hopkins among all universities, public and private.
And here's yet another feather in our cap. A recent National Research Council ranking of graduate programs placed 11 of ours in the top 10 nationally and 25 more in the top 20. And that was something that President McCormick referred to in the interview that we heard.
It's impressive. So it's clear that today's graduates are going to leave here well armed for the future.
They sure are. Now, Louis, your office administers the freshman programs that the president referred to in his interview, the freshman interest groups and the freshman seminars. Can you tell us what other opportunities are available to students here at the university that serve to enhance their undergraduate experience? And I think of the Carlson Leadership and Public Service Office, for example.
Pam, that's really quite apropos. Senator Bradley mentioned that it was important for our graduates to learn how to see, to feel, and to give. Well, through the Carlson office, over 2,000 students have had an opportunity to work in a couple hundred community-based organizations in over 20 schools. And these experiences are linked right back into their courses in the classroom so that the practical...
It's relevant.
The relevant.
Immediately relevant.
It's immediately relevant, and the sort of practical experience that they get in the community, they bring back into the classroom to test against the more theoretical and abstract knowledge that they're getting in the classroom.
Louis, we're hearing a lot about the increasing role of computing and technology in general in the curriculum these days. I imagine that students are arriving on campus, many who have computing skills and many who are novices. What kinds of computing skills are expected of students coming to the U, and what kind of an environment can they expect to find here to help them gain whatever expertise they need in this area?
Well, Jack, we often talk in terms of information literacy as opposed to computing skills, because our students come to us with the whole spectrum of computing skills, and we'll take them wherever they are. What we like to think about is that we have a set of literacies or competencies. Earlier I mentioned the Carlson office. We think of that contributing to something we call civic literacy. And we are trying to recognize that the citizens that we're educating here are going to need to contribute in responsible and imaginative ways to lead, in fact, rather than to chase and stumble into the future. So information literacy, civic literacy are all the kinds of capacities that allow our students to critique how problems are defined, to reimagine them, to perhaps create the possibility of new solutions. And those are certainly things that are worth bothering with. And we have a number of programs that begin in the freshman year that carry all the way through into a student's major, where students can learn those competencies and can further test themselves. Our program here at the University of Washington is sort of umbrella for the entire program we call the UWired program. But in the spring of 1998, we're going to be opening a Center for Undergraduate Education and Technology, Mary Gates Hall, and in that facility we will bring together all of the teaching and learning resources for our 25,000 undergraduates.
So what you're saying then is this really is a coordinated approach to the incorporation of information literacy and technology into the curriculum here at the University of Washington.
Yeah, in fact, it's been a marvelous collaboration among the faculty, the administration, the many librarians in our university libraries. After all, they're the information experts, and our computing professionals in computing and communications on campus.
Now, you are also very much involved in the development of new curriculum here at the University of Washington. Could you talk a bit about some of the programs that are evolving here that are beginning to cross what we traditionally think of as disciplinary boundaries? I know the animation arts program is a new one, community environmental planning. Could you talk a little bit more about these?
I'd love to. These are
no prompting required.
These are absolutely wonderful programs for our students. They really help foster new and innovative ways for students to approach problems and issues. They cross disciplinary lines. They help broaden students' perspectives. You mentioned animation arts. I just had the great opportunity to see the end of the year projects done by the students in the animation arts course. Their courses are taught by faculty from computer science, from art, and from music. And so the students in computer science get a much broader arts perspective, and those in arts get a much deeper understanding of computer science. And you should have seen the wonderful projects they had. And it was amazing to me that they had done this work in just a quarter.
Wow.
In the College of Arts and Sciences, there are what I would think of as liberal arts interdisciplinary programs. In fact, the fastest growing major on campus in the last couple of years has been the Comparative History of Ideas program, which is an interdisciplinary humanities, social sciences program, and immensely popular among our students. And in fact, many of the students from this program have been going on to win very, very, very distinguished national scholarships and have gone on to some of the best graduate schools in the country. In fact, in the audience today are two students from this program who are Mellon Scholars.
Very impressive.
Louis, the President briefly referred in his interview with us to the predicted demand for access by even more students in the future, result of the baby boom echo and the continued in-migration into the state. One suggestion he had for meeting this demand is the use of distance learning technologies. Now, you've been doing a lot of work in this area. How do you see it evolving?
Well, I've traveled during the last 6 months or so to all of the community colleges in the state, as well as have been involved in discussions with the regional institutions and the other research institution in the state, WSU. And we've been trying to collectively talk about how we will meet this new demand for access, particularly at the upper division. Now, some of this will use some of our newer technologies, the internet, the World Wide Web, two-way video. But some of the programs, we're looking at much more traditional approaches to meeting those needs, where we may have a faculty member from one of these institutions, say, go to Grays Harbor Community College and meet with students periodically. The faculty there may work with them, and then there may be some interaction over the internet or using two-way video. There are a number of really useful tools that we have to meet some of this new demand. And I think that there's a really fine cooperative spirit between the four-year schools and the community colleges. And I think together we will be able to increase educational opportunities in the state.
Yeah, and Senator Bradley talked a bit about the effective technology and so on. And I think probably the one thing that we can rely on is that whatever we've done in the past is going to look very different in the future. Now we're continuing to watch. We are about 2/3 of the way through the baccalaureate degrees. And Louis, we gave out some statistics a little earlier on the numbers and types of degrees being conferred today. The overwhelming percentage we're watching right now, about 70% are baccalaureate degrees. You're looking at some controlled chaos down there on the floor. It's great.
I think they're sensing the end
I wish
is
you could
here.
be here with us. This is fun.
Yeah.
And the president, I asked this question to the president too. One of the misconceptions that people seem to have about the University of Washington is that its focus on research somehow precludes an emphasis on undergraduate education. You're a leader of undergraduate programs. You've just described a number of them. How would you respond to that?
Well, I think that we are a research intensive institution is what brings the greatest value to undergraduate education here at the university. Students here have an opportunity to be part of the creation of new knowledge, and that's truly an unusual opportunity. And we try and link students' interests in a particular discipline with faculty who are doing research in that discipline. And about a year ago, we launched what we're calling the Undergraduate Research Program that allows students to enter in a much deeper way into the research of faculty here at the campus. This last year, I think about 150 students took advantage of that. And the faculty reported that not only were the students highly prepared to engage in the technical demands of research, but they were creative, inquisitive, capable of intention and design, and the sort of problem solving that was needed to do very advanced and sophisticated research.
We're continuing here to watch the baccalaureate degrees. Louis, it's been really great having you with us today. I think you've added immensely to the information that we have about undergraduate programs here at the University of Washington. And we certainly look forward to seeing the results of some of the things that you've described. I know I had a chance once to go to the reception for the Carlson Award winners and public community service award winners, and it was really impressive, and you could just see how much these students and the community institutions that they've helped have gotten out of this program. Thank you very much for taking the time to be with us today.
Thanks, Pam. These are truly extraordinary men and women who are graduating today, and it's been a thrill to look at graduation from a new vantage point.
Thank you.
Well, as we continue to watch here, I sense there's a peak, a gaining in the excitement factor that's going on. The jubilation is almost ready to break loose in the aisles down here. There are more smiles, there's more giggling and laughing, and more exchanges between everybody. We're very near the end of the presentation of the baccalaureate, so let's watch them here for a moment, and we will prepare for the closing of the purple ceremonies of commencement 1996. from UWTV, we remind you that we are in the closing moments right now of the Purple Ceremony, the first of two ceremonies to be held here on campus today. The gold follows this afternoon, when we'll be seeing representatives of other schools on the campus honored for their academic achievement. But the moment for these young people, and some of them not so young, has arrived. They are going through the final moments of rites of passage, and you can tell from the decorations and from the smiles, even sometimes the solemnness reflects the importance of the occasion that we're going through here. We've had a very large number of baccalaureate degrees here, Pam.
Oh, we sure have.
And I think we're getting very, very close.
Very close.
To the end
you
as
mentioned
the final few come up to receive their award.
You mentioned too, Jack, the not so young folks that
And
are
there's
receiving.
somebody special. We have time to be together with her quite a bit in our daily operations.
There are quite a few people who, in fact, I have an acquaintance who began her quest for a bachelor's degree in 1967, and she is here today receiving that. She has been through, you get married, you have kids, a lot of life changes.
What a dedication it takes.
Divorce, and some people have held down one job, two jobs while they're going to school.
You just persist through it,
You
right
do.
through life's changes.
You do, and I think those people deserve special congratulations for their ability to persevere through hardships and just lots and lots of life changes.
Well, and it does demonstrate what's so worthwhile about all of this. This is the important foundation piece for a life at any point in its progress.
That's right. That's right.
The president is certainly having a good time.
I think so. This is, as we mentioned earlier, this is his first commencement. He just took on the presidency last September. This is his first stint as a university president as a commencement, and he seems to be doing just fine.
Well, when we had the time to have the one-on-one with him during our interview process, his personal quality comes through. He's very much a one-on-one
No, he
person.
really is. He really is. He made interviewing him very easy.
He's very clear, very precise. He's
Yeah.
got a clear vision of exactly what the mission, goals, and futures of this university should be.
And he has a lot of energy. He brings a tremendous amount of enthusiasm to this job, and of course I think it's a job that you have to bring a tremendous amount of energy to, because there are going to be, and there will be more and more challenges.
I'm stumbling a little to say this, but to share with our audience, I think we were the 12th item.
Yes, we were. The day that
we
we
were only
interviewed.
mid-afternoon.
That's right.
when
The day that we interviewed the president, we had a 2 o'clock appointment, and we were his 12th appointment of the day. So when I said at the end, when I thanked him for taking time out of his hectic schedule, I was not exaggerating.
Well, and he was in a marvelously good humor.
He was.
For all of the pressures that he was
He
feeling.
really was. Amazing. Well, we are getting close to the end. We'll sit back and watch the conclusion of the conferral of the degrees, and then the University Marshal, Ron Moore, will be coming back to close the ceremony.
I expect to hear a tremendous yell in unison from everybody
Pretty soon.
here
Pretty
at
soon.
some moment.
Pretty soon.
Well, we are watching the last of the baccalaureate candidates as they come up to receive their degrees. And as they exit the stage now, we will be closing with the formal ceremonies in just a few moments. But don't go away. There goes our last one right now. Don't go away. Professor Ron Moore will be up for the final closing, the recessional, and we'll all have a chance to sing along with the alma mater.
This afternoon's ceremony will begin at 2:30 p.m. Doors will reopen at 1:45 for guests holding tickets for that ceremony. We ask your cooperation in leaving the building promptly at the conclusion of this ceremony so that the pavilion can be readied for this afternoon's ceremony. After the singing of the alma mater, the audience and members of the graduating class are requested to remain standing in their places until the recessional of the faculty is concluded. The graduating class and guests will then resume their seats under the direction of the commencement marshals. The graduates will march outside to meet their parents and friends. We urge that the order of the recessional be maintained until you leave the pavilion. The audience will now please rise for the singing of the alma mater. The words are printed on the inside of the back cover of the commencement program. The College of Arts and Sciences ceremony of the 121st commencement exercises of the University of Washington is now closed.
University Marshal has just officially concluded the ceremony, and the participants are beginning to file out of the pavilion. Just to let you know, you can request copies of the printed program for this year's commencement by contacting the Office of Public Exercises, Box 355-833, University of Washington, Seattle, 98195.
And you may also purchase professionally duplicated copies of this program from the University Bookstore. For information, call 1-800-335-READ. That number is 1-800-335-READ, the University Bookstore. And now, as these proud and capable graduates take their leave of this hall, we will take our leave, too. Thank you for joining us for Commencement 96. And Pam, it's been a pleasure as usual.
And the feeling, Jack, of course, is mutual. We hope that you have enjoyed our coverage as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. On behalf of the crew here at UWTV and my colleague, Jack Armstrong, thank you for joining us for Commencement 1996.
Thank you.